Hey guys. So in this video, we're going to talk about main idea, finding main idea and key details. And one thing I want to talk to you guys about is the main idea. I think most of you know that that's sort of what the passage is mostly about. Key details are the things that help you get there and figure it out, or that help you prove it. If you say, hey, this is the main idea, okay, then this is how you know. So think of key ideas as like they are the key, they open the door to the main idea. There will always be information in a text that is interesting, but not a key detail, and you could take it out technically, and you'd still get your main idea. So let's read this text about Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin, scientist and inventor. Oh, so sorry, let me back up. So when you're reading, it's important to think about the 5 W's and an H. So who, what, when, where, why, how, and how. So let's read this text, and you'll see I've kind of pre-highlighted it to I found some of those things ahead of time. So we'll talk about it. So while Benjamin Franklin, that's our who, is known as a statesman, diplomat, he was also an accomplished inventor and scientist. Franklin was mainly a painter by profession. So, excuse me, in light blue, those are the things, those are the what. That's the part of the who. It's who he was, right? Those are the things he was. And then in orange are the things that he did, right? He's also he investigated natural phenomenon such as ocean currents and lightning. He did marine research, which led to the publication of the Gulf Stream currents. Franklin developed theories about electricity, made famous by his experiments with a kite and key during a lightning storm. As a result of his work with electricity, Franklin invented the lightning rod. So in pink, we have the things that he actually had, the product of his work, right? So he invented the lightning rod, which protected buildings from lightning strikes. Also curious and always curious and imaginative. So again, something he did or was. Franklin always also invented. So again, something he was doing. And here are the things he did: bifocal lenses, the Franklin stove, an odometer for carriages, and a musical instrument called a glass harmonica. He investigated evaporation as a cooling technique and designed nautical enhancements, including watertight compartments. So kind of color-coded the details as I see them, okay? So, and this is something you can do with your text, okay? You can do that now if you'd like. So one thing is, it's really important to ask questions when you're reading. So I'm going to provide a key detail, and I want you guys to create a question, okay? So Benjamin Franklin was an inventor. So take a second and think of a question. You can write it off to the side. Use the text, the typing tool if you want to write your question off to the side here. So I'll give you a second. So, okay, so the key detail is that Benjamin Franklin was an inventor. So what's the question we could come up with from that? Some people might have said, what did he invent, right? That would be, how did he invent them? Those would be things that you could ask. What or how did he invent things, right? So the next thing it's important to do is to find what details have in common. And you'll notice I kind of already started this by color coding the details in the text. You may not have chosen to color code it exactly the same way. And I'm not saying just the colors, but you might have chosen a different strategy of what you were going to group. But that's what's important, is figuring out what you're going to group together. So I want you guys to think about this. If I say car, bus, plane, train, and boat, what do those all have in common? Think about that for a second. That's right. They're all modes of transportation. So that's what they have in common. So if you were reading a text that had all those things in it, you might be reading about modes of transportation, right? Now, what if I'd say this? 1 foot of snow has fallen. Schools are closed and the power is out. What's probably happening? What's the main idea? Think about that for a second. That's right. Probably some sort of major snowstorm, right? There could be other reasons schools would be closed. We're certainly familiar with that nowadays. And there could be other reasons the power were out. But if you then add in the fact that there's a foot of snow, now you're talking about a snowstorm. Makes it really clear. So those are the key details that bring us to the main idea. So that is one way. So now here's another thing I want you guys to do. I want you to look at this image. So I just want you to look at this image here, and I want you to try to create a caption. But before you do, and remember, a caption is sort of like describing what's going on in the picture. But really look at the picture. So first of all, it's in black and white. So does that lend us an idea about what time it was happening? Look at how the women are dressed and how their hair is. Does that tell you any clues about when this was, or at least that it wasn't probably, contemporary? And what are they doing? It's not super clear, but it looks like they are working with their hands. They're lined up. So maybe they're in some sort of assembly line situation. And what is a little difficult to tell, guys, is that these are kids. This girl especially, they're very young. So there wasn't too long ago that children were forced to work in really horrible conditions to help support their families. So think about a caption that you could write for this picture. Okay. Now share that caption either with a neighbor or me. Okay. Now, here's another thing I want you to share. This time I'm going to show you a different article, and I want you to come up. So this is a text just on Encyclopedia Britannica, just an entry. But I want you to think of what would be a good headline for this. So the article says, steam engine, machine using steam power to perform mechanical work through the agency of heat. A brief treatment of steam engines follows. For full treatment of steam engine power and production and the steam engine and turbines, see energy conversion steam engines. So I have hidden the title of this entry for you, but what do you think this title might be? Right? We know that this is mostly about steam engines. We know that there's a related entry of energy conversion steam engines, but this article, they're sending us away for that information. So this is not about energy conversion. So what would this one just be about? Think about a headline you would write for this entry. That's right. You'd probably write steam engine because this is about steam engines. Okay. So now what you're going to do is I want you to go back into your teacher-made article. And actually, you might have to do this on a sheet of paper. So first, I want you to come into down here and use text boxes to write, to find our main ideas, okay? So this is just a graphic organizer that helps us organize our ideas. The entire text is about what? It's about Benjamin Franklin, but it's not just about him in general. Even in the title, it says scientist and inventor. So even though he was other things, this is what we're focusing on. So we're going to write Benjamin Franklin. Franklin was a scientist and an inventor. Okay. So you need to write both. You're going to write, and it doesn't need to be a full sentence. I put a sentence there, but you don't have to. However, if you do write a sentence in these circles, then that kind of makes your summary a little easier. So then what you're going to do is find details that back up your claim. You just made a claim that he was a scientist and an inventor. So in these circles, you need to go and find information from the text that prove he was a scientist and an inventor. So what you might put here are things he studied and invented. Okay, so go ahead and take a minute and do that. Okay, so he investigated natural, and I'm going to spell these words correctly because it's right here in my text for me. I'm not going to do it if my computer won't work. Natural phenomenon. He developed theories about electricity, could be another circle. He what's happening here? He invented things and he designed things, right? So investigated, you gotta be kidding me, dude. In, investigated, researched, did marine research, developed theories, invented, and designed. Okay, so those are the main things he did. So you could say invest. And notice I'm doing the things in orange, right? I'm doing all the things that my teacher, my awesome teacher, um, put in orange. So and if I want to be more clear, I can. So he did, what did he investigate? Maybe I should go back and say specifically natural phenomena. He researched, did marine research, right? That means ocean, marine. Investigated theories of what? Electricity, right? About electricity. Okay. He also just invented, for invented, he just invented. You could just leave that as inventor. He invented things. And then he also designed things. Okay. So now you are able to go and write a summary paragraph because you've got your main idea here, right? Benjamin Franklin was a scientist and an inventor. Notice that your main idea happens to be really similar to the title. That doesn't always happen, but sometimes that's a happy accident that the title and the is really close to the main idea. So that's good. And now you could, if your teacher was telling you to write a summary, you could go and write, this would be your first sentence. And each one of these where you tell a little bit more about what natural phenomenon he invented, what came about from his marine research, what about his electricity on his theories about electricity, what did he invent and what did he design, each one of the sentence. And that is how you write a summary. You've found your main idea, you've found your key details, and now you could write a summary. All right. I hope that helps. Bye, y'all.